What's up, everybody? I'm Dan.
I'm Manji.
And I'm still Ryan.
And we're still here in the Bull's basement talking about our favorite things that came out this year for the Horus Heresy.
2022.
What's up, gang? We're down here in the Bull's basement talking about our favorite things for 2022 and what we thought were the best things they brought out for Heresy 2.0 and what were the misses. While you listen to us chit-chat, if we get too boring, you can scroll over to the right on there and you'll find a bunch of other Bulls videos. You can also scroll down. There's Bull videos. If you keep scrolling down, you could leave us a comment. We're still working on a title for the show, are we not?
Yeah, I think we're Thick Hammer now?
Thick Hammer.
Yeah.
Thick Hammer is what we're going with this episode. Because what we got to talk about is going to go on forever. Yeah. Ever. So anyway, I guess I'll start. My favorite thing that came out for Horus Heresy this year was, in fact, Horus Heresy 2.0. I know that seems like a phone-in, but by God, were we waiting way too long for it to show. We're glad it did. We're all having a grandy old time with it. Probably my second favorite thing would be we're finally starting to see super heavy tanks roll out in plastic.
My God.
It's the best thing ever. More tanks, because as we all know,
When are we getting the plastic Thunderhawk? Is that coming?
I have no idea.
We got confirmation on that yet?
I know I'm wearing a Santa hat. The elves are hard at work on it. I have no idea about a plastic Thunderhawk, man. That's wishful thinking. But plastic Spartans were a huge move up. The Kratos was a really welcome surprise, even though it's kind of a hot mess. I mean,
it has a lot of guns and shoots and stuff.
It's not only does it have a lot of guns, it's got a good look to it. Like, they literally went in and made like a Sicaran on steroids and then gave it a bunch of weapons options, which is pretty unique for Horus Heresy, right? I mean, that's like the first tank to come out.
I agree and I disagree. I love the fact they released it. I disagree with the look of it because it doesn't feel very Heresy to me, but...
I mean, it doesn't feel 40K. I mean, the Melta barrel feels a little 40K, but that's probably about the only thing on it that screams, I'm not.
Agree to disagree. So.
Fair enough. All right. I mean, not appearing on a Warhammer 40... Not appearing on a 40K table near you. So that's...
It does have 40K rolls.
Does it have 40K rolls?
Pretty sure it does.
Yeah, I got 40K rolls when it released.
Yeah.
And still no one takes it because it's 40K.
Oof. I mean, that implies people play Space Marines in 40K, which is...
I wanted to. Okay, anyway. My third favorite thing this year for Horus Heresy was probably Marduk. Because I'm a Dark Angels fanatic, and by God, is he a cool model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Corswain coming too.
Corswain on the way too. That's hot stuff. Dark Angels are good. Everything about them, so delicious.
You're the problem.
I am the problem. Yes, absolutely. Me and my 6 rights of war.
4 of which are trash.
4 of which you can't feel. Don't worry. And then fourth for me would probably be the fact that it's an index. I know we keep talking about there being new books and more books, but damn it rolling out as an index was way too cool. Makes it pretty darn level, easy to digest. Everybody get the rules down. It was good planning on their part. And lastly, for me, it's been about just how many like awesome plastic kits we're getting for 30K so that we can get more people in the hobby. I'll be honest, like at the end of the day, just having all this stuff in plastic and readily available and in the right like numbers of units in a box, and they're not janking you on you got to buy this box. I mean, they kind of are, but they're kind of not, because you get what you want. It's not like you have to go buy Hellblasters to get that one bit or anything like that. You know?
Or when you do buy them, you get 10 of them.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Or gun options are 30 a box. That's not bad. Yeah. Like that's actually
appropriate pricing has been a godsend.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as we all know, the biggest difference between Horus Heresy and 40K is the number of models on the table.
Right.
For both sides. So anyway, those are my 5. What do you got, Ryan?
The pace of releases has been astounding to me. I didn't expect to see as many plastic models as we got this year. I also didn't expect to see Liber Imperium. I didn't expect to see Liber Mechanicum. And as someone who doesn't play a lot of Space Marines but owns a lot, Painting up and having rules available for stuff like Custodes and My Mechanicum have been really awesome. I appreciate that they're willing to put in minimal effort on Mechanicum, better effort on Custodes, and like give me something to work with, so I can play the game too and enjoy it with armies that I am really passionate about. So that's one of them. Of course, the fact that the other thing I'm pretty thankful for is that so many people embrace the game. The Age of Darkness box came out, delivered this great product at a good price that has really, enabled people to pick this thing up and be able to step into the game and play. And then, of course, we get all the fun out of it, too, with all of our narrative stuff that Manji's put on. The community's strong because of it. When you give people the ability to play the game and there's no model scarcity and it's priced right, people will embrace your game.
And it comes
the rule book.
Like an addendum to that is that with Horus Heresy 2.0, they brought Grimdark back to Games Workshop. Like it
feels like that, yeah.
It really wasn't there with 9th edition.
I talk about sometimes when I write the articles here at Bulls for Horus Heresy, and one of the things that I've always been a big proponent of is ease of play. Like if you can give someone a product that they want to buy that's good quality, good price, like they will step into the game. They will step in and they will take the risk on it. $299 is not, I guess, that much in the grand scheme of things for what you get out of this box.
It's the value of a your average RTX 3060.
Right. You're a quarter way to the computer on that one.
Yeah.
What else am I thankful for? A strong community, at least here in Austin. We have amazing TOs like Manji and Jared. That come out and develop all this fun for us that we can participate in. We have people who are casually invested. We have people who are, tournament players. We have people who are in between and they show up and they put in the effort. And I'm always thankful for that kind of stuff. Another thing I'm really thankful for is that we have store support. Through Wonkos and Matt over at Wonkos, our dear friend,
beloved Matt.
And that he's given us the space to play, which is,
huge,
a rarity.
Giant boon.
It's a focal point for our community. Same with Dragon's Lair and Angie over at Dragon's Lair. She tolerates our big, stupid games and give us places to play. So that's awesome.
Secretly, they all know big, stupid games get foot traffic into the store.
Hey, you know what? It works for everybody, and that's what matters.
Indeed.
Yeah, and of course I've really enjoyed putting together this show for people, so I'm thankful for for Dan. And
subscribe,
enjoy our content, and that we have an outlet to put all this together and present our crappy opinions to 12 people in the world.
Yeah,
so.
We're all 12 of you fans.
But also like and subscribe. Drop us a comment. Do all the YouTube things.
More comments.
And I guess finally, just the vast majority of releases have been strong. I think we're getting at least one a month now.
I mean, has there been a week release?
The Armigers?
Yeah, that was the Mechanicum
way to
release.
Stab him in the Achilles heel.
And it's not even the Moirax either. It's just standard Armigers.
Yeah.
That's the thing that kills me.
But didn't you get like a bonus? Isn't it like now you get 2 in plastic instead of having to pay for a bunch in resin, like at one at a time? Wasn't that the whole deal?
No, I mean we used to always get 2. It was either Helverins or Armigers.
Oh, now they're just combined.
But you still have to buy the upgrade kit for the Moirax.
Oh my god! All right,
and then you have to get the weapon arms too, which is like the lightning locks or the graviton.
So what you're telling me is they did us all a favor by not indulging Mechanicum
players. There's a new
players.
transfer sheet in there too.
Oh yeah, don't forget the transfers.
Oh. Okay, sure. The transfer sheet's there. I mean, I'm a big old hooker for transfers, so
Decals.
Decals.
I gotta get my decals.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm thankful for all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Manji, what do you got? Did we leave you anything?
Quite a bit actually.
Okay.
Excellent.
Firstly, we've had some excellent Siege of Terra books this year.
Oh yes, the lore has been great.
We had, I believe, Saturnine was last year. We got Echoes of Eternity this year, which has been a really fantastic ending for the World Eaters. Really happy that Aaron Dembski Bowden got to like end the stories of Lotara and Karn and Angron and lots of gut punches there. If you are into Horus Heresy game, you're not reading the books, highly recommend the novels. All great stuff.
Spoiler alert, Karn betrays.
Weirdly, Karn does not betray.
How does he get the name of the betrayer?
It's after the heresy.
It's terrible.
Karn, very loyal in the heresy.
To Angron.
Right, I was just saying Angron. Not the Emperor.
I'm really happy that for the first time, Heresy got official like animated media in the animated trailer for the new edition.
Oh yeah, that was sick.
That was super cool.
Rumor is the artist who did Astartes was involved in that trailer. It's, I think, the best CG trailer Games Workshop has done for anything.
I would argue that what was the last one they did for 40K?
Oh, the ninth edition.
The Sisters
probably a little
Battle.
better, but you know, that's fine.
That didn't have a Titan getting hit by orbital fire.
True death.
That's true. That was arguably the coolest part.
And the way they showed like Horus like the wounded Imperial fist going at him.
Just the voiceover of Horus alone, right? Like, I mean, that was just grabbing him by the cojones the whole time. Father, like they spared no expense. It was
true.
great.
Sure.
So I think there's also tons of great reaction videos to like people who haven't seen Warhammer stuff, seeing that as their
right. I mean, that stuff definitely sells the game and the lore and the IP, and it definitely gets people involved.
I was really happy about that. In terms of model releases, I believe we got the new Remus Ventanus this year. We got Saul Tarvitz this year. The Forge World. The Forge World characters they're fun to work on. They're fun to build. They're fun to paint.
Define fun. It's not for everybody. Just saying.
The characters are not.
Characters aren't bad. That's
no. I just built. Actually, I
just
just built Mortarion last night, and I thought he was going to be way worse than he actually ended up being.
Mm-hmm. No, the best part about the characters is the no instructions they come with. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. By the way, Let's quick sidebar. If you need Warhammer instructions, go to Warhammer instructions as a subreddit.
Right.
Because sometimes you won't have the instructions, or sometimes you'll be scratching your head, and those comments will help.
Yeah. But so the Forge World releases have been really solid.
Really strong.
The Mark 6 Legion upgrades. I mean, I know the internet loves to rag on the Space Wolf stuff, but by and large,
dude, those helmets look like trash.
By and large, the Legion upgrades that we've seen have been awesome. The Thousand Suns ones they just showed a little bit ago are great. The Night Lords ones are great. The Dark Angels ones are incredible.
I love the Dark Angels.
Some of the best unhelmeted heads, 40K or 30K for that army, are definitely in that set.
Just the winged helms, they nailed it.
How about all those Mechanicum upgrades?
Well, Armigers are great.
Yeah. I'm really happy with the way that they've allowed you to customize the Mark 6 Marines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, one of my biggest fears about the new edition was
static poses and like no kit bashing.
Right. 40K and Age of Sigmar have really. It's not that you can't kit bash; is that it's very hard to kit bash compared to in late 90s Warhammer models were made to be kit bashed. It was literally like you could put any torso you want on top of these legs. You could put any arms on those torsos. I mean, they built the 40K and Fantasy Orc ranges to be entirely swappable. So you could put 40K dudes on boars or whatever you wanted. But that's that's not what Games Workshop does.
Raptor Cavalry.
In kind of the more premier games that we've seen.
The Alcorn Juggernaut Army.
But in the Heresy box and with the upgrades they've done, not only are the Mark 6 Marines really a throwback to like not just visually, but like the classic way you would get a Marine model. Like you can put whatever arms you want on the dude.
And also it builds quickly. It's like 6 pieces. That's
like I've got a Legion Herald that I'm building that is out of the Mark 6 Marines with some stuff from a Command Squad box. Like,
I mean, look at Dan. He's put together 3 models in almost an hour. Sorry, 2.5.
I'm very thorough.
You are.
But these Marines are fast to build. They're fun to build. They work great with resin and plastic Marine bits. This is exactly what I would have wanted to see from a new Heresy Marine range.
Right.
I think the stuff they've hinted at, I'm really excited about. The new Sisters of Silence models, the new potentially traitor assassins we might see next year. The amount of content we have got.
Yeah, it really has been breakneck from June until now.
From a company known for, going the speed of your average glacier.
Yeah. I mean, we've had Zone Mortalis rules. We've had a bunch of missions in the White Dwarfs.
I'll bring back Zone Mortalis tiles.
We've had the Liber Imperium, the Liber Astartes, the Liber Hereticus, the Liber Mechanicum. We've had support for almost every single army that was in Heresy First Edition.
I think we're missing the Liber Traitor and
we're missing demons. We're missing demons. We're missing like the Lost and the Damned, cults, militia stuff.
Yeah, everybody's still burning Black Shields.
Black Shields. So there's definitely still stuff we're missing, but compared to, Dark Angels did not get their Legion rules
until
like
2019.
Yeah. It was insane. But now, almost every single army and every major faction in the game has rules for their models. And the last thing I'll be thankful for, I know this might be a little bit controversial, the PDF support. So there is a thing where Games Workshop doesn't like to produce rules for models they don't actively make. And the trend in 40K is, I can only give my captain what the GW captain model has. I can only take intercessors that have the stuff in the intercessor box. I can't here's an intercessor with a plasma gun. That's not a thing that we can do right now.
Right.
But with the Legacies of Darkness PDF and the Exemplary Battles PDFs for Space Marines, we also see stuff in the Mechanicum PDF, like the Land Raider Explorator they have, which is the kit basher's dream. Yeah. These are rules that do not have models, and you get to go crazy doing your own stuff. And for modern Games Workshop, I'm really, really happy to see that stuff.
The Explorator is an odd... I'll just throw this out there. The Explorator is an odd exception to that because there was a model for an Explorator at Forge World.
Right, but they've stopped making it. That's why you got the...
Yeah, and they magically quit making it. Even though it had fresh instructions. And I've always scratched my head at that one. It came with...
Well, there was the Explorator, then it was replaced by the bigger the bigger alternative they also no longer make. I forget what that was called. It wasn't the Kraknos tank. It was something else.
No, there was...
Well, the Kraknos was an assault, assault tank with the missile pods on it.
But so they had the Land Raider initially early on.
You're thinking of the conveyor. That thing's still around.
It's not on Forge World.
Then there's going to be a plastic one soon.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, because that model is still in the book.
Yeah. The conveyor's in the book.
Right, the conveyor's in the book, but it does not have it's not imprinted Forge World right now. But
okay. Well.
You also get the option of take every Land Raider kit that is made by Games Workshop, do whatever you want, Mechanicum Land Raider. I love that is a thing that exists.
Yeah. That is the throwback to the old kind of, GW adage of speed stick Land Raider.
For any of our viewers that weren't around for 2nd edition Warhammer 40K 2nd edition, when that launched, all of the index was unavailable. There was tac squads were a thing, and you had some models from Rogue Trader, but not really. And everything that was in that book, they either made or silently went away into non-existence, a la squats.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was they knew they couldn't pump out the models to reflect the rules, so they encouraged kit bashing. They encouraged you to. Come think outside the box, and they're getting towards re-embracing that with Horus for sure.
If Heresy is going to be sort of the advanced hobbyists game,
right,
or the game that you're doing because the hobby part is what's really appealing to you, embracing that makes a ton of sense for Heresy, and I'm really glad to see it as a thing. I think the last thing I'm thankful for is the official event support for Horus Heresy.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Mike and Zach at the GW events team. Playing at the Horus Heresy Open, having a big official event to go to where the people were great. The terrain was great. We fought at Istvan. Like, you know,
there was Titans.
There were Titans. There was Sanguinius killing a Titan, which was, you know.
So what you're saying is go to these events.
They're so fun. Let me not knock that over.
Go to events. Don't knock over terrain.
Don't knock over terrain. You know, I can't think of an official Heresy event in first edition. You know, It was around for a decade. I don't know.
There probably was outside one in England in 2007.
Yeah, Warhammer World definitely has them, but other than that, I don't think they're really like brought to like the tournament scenes.
Right. And to see like Games Workshop embracing Heresy at that level is incredible, and I really want to see more of it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I would love to go to those events. Probably gonna try and make one for next year. I know that way I can at least like, you know, me and 7 other people, so that makes 8. Maybe Dan for 9. Hell yes.
Let's do it.
Have a good time.
All right. Well, if that's all the roses, what's your one major Horus Heresy thorn?
Mechanicum book was not great, and I was expecting better. But you know,
were you just like waiting for that? Was that
was bait? He baited me.
I did. I baited hard.
I feel like that question was geared towards me.
I knew that you were gonna. Because you know, Manji and I found all sorts of releases that didn't upset us. I guess none of us were waiting for bated breath for the Mechanicum to get their day in the sun that you were so eager for.
I will say I was not expecting them to have like an amazing release, just given like the sins of last edition, as we kind of put it. So I will say that was
you say that, but then they made Sisters of Silence like their whole own damn army that's way superior.
They weren't great last edition. They were used sporadically as part of, you know, Talons of the Emperor. But Mechanicum to me was a little disappointing. They didn't end up with a lot of the flavor and kind of like nice rules that that legions have gotten. So I think that's my one like desire is in 2023 that they you know, are included in the Black Book and they get some support.
I would love to see like the Mechanicum Civil War as a Black Book, because I don't think that was really covered ground in first edition.
No, and there's only really one piece of lore that really focuses heavily on the Mechanicum. In fact, called Mechanicum. I think it's book 7 in the Heresy, and it really does kind of start the whole Civil War on Mars. So I would definitely love to see that in the Black Book. That would be very, very cool to see.
I think that would,
of course, like plastic Thalax, plastic Castellux, plastic Thanatar would be.
Yeah. Some plastic units would be nice. Yes, of course.
Plastic Thalax for sure. I mean, that's the basic troop.
Having built enough Thalax for you, I fully support that those should be moved to plastic.
If you have resin stuff, find a guy who will build your resin stuff,
or at least the annoying parts of your resin stuff, like Thalax,
or just all of your resin stuff.
Dan, do you have any big misses? Any stuff? That,
I think for me the only miss is it's kind of geared towards Ryan's take on it, but it's a little bit different. I am a little bit sad that some more of the not built, we're not going to have a model for it, exotic grimdarky things weren't fully embraced in the books. Like, as a Dark Angels player, I was really hoping of all hopes that they would actually make an Iron Man Excendio model.
Okay.
Like, it would be cool. Like, they've got all this lore. They're not going to drop the lore. They're not going to change the lore. The lore is still there for the DA to have a chained up Iron Man somewhere, buried deep in the bellows of, well, I guess at this point, Caliban, later The Rock. But,
right.
And, they just kind of kicked it to the PDF. Like, you know what, man? Like, that would be a cool model. We don't have the time to cook that one up. We're too busy making juiced up Horus. Or whatever the case may be. Like, I kind of... And I know that happened really bad for the Ultramarines. They broke pretty hard on that, right? Don't they have, more models in the PDF than
pretty much
the DA?
Pretty much, all of their good units are in the PDF. Like, they don't have anything that's good in the Library Authorities, in my opinion.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. I feel like they did something to the Primarchs that kind of takes a little something away from them.
Oh, how so?
I feel like in first edition, the Primarchs had just a little bit more character built into rules. Like every Primarch was their own little short story of rules. And I know why they changed that. Like, and it's not that it's that far off than what it is now, but like they kind of tweaked them to make them more balanced instead of really embracing their lore like they were in first edition.
I mean, as someone who doesn't play Legion very often or at all, because Mechanic and Custodes are superior in my mind.
I would actually push back on that a fair bit. I think what happened is, in first edition Horus Heresy, they had 1 to 2 pages of rules each, but it all boiled down to will fuck you up in melee.
Yeah.
And the Primarchs who could fuck you up more in melee became the only ones that were run, because why run Mortarion when Leman Russ will just,
destroy you in melee.
Yeah, right. Or the Lion will decapitate anyone else in melee.
He would too.
He's got a big enough sword.
And they all died to Imperial Knights.
Hooray!
In second edition, I think they've done a better job of being like, here's the Primarchs who are like generals and supports, and they're going to do cool things because they're generals and supports. And then here's your Primarchs who are going to be ludicrous melee badasses. And they are toned down from where they were in that it is possible they can die in the course of a game.
Right.
When it was not possible in first edition to like out melee the Lion.
It was impossible. He was also the last Primarch to get rules, which might have a lot to do with that.
Jagtai.
No, Jagtai was the last one to get a model. He wasn't the last one to get rules.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because Dark Ends were in the last book. White Scars were in the book before.
Book 9?
8.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Okay, it was White Scars. But, what I like about Primarchs now that they didn't do before is they change your list. Like, if you run a list of Ultramarines with a Primarch is going to be a different army than you would run without a Primarch. A list that's running the Lion is not going to be the same army you'd run if you're running Marduk or Corswain or what have you. I feel like they tend to make you want to like play the Legion in a certain way.
Or Angron makes you want to just play him by himself because he just screws everything up around him, including your guys. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's
also pretty lore driven.
Yeah, I mean that's 100% lore driven.
Right, like Angron's Warlord trait is you get a ton of movement reacts, but you can only use them to run forward. Oh, you wanted to intercept those Deep Strikers? No, Angron says charge those Deep Strikers.
Angron's too angry for tactics.
Right. And I think they've done a very good job of reflecting kind of what the Primarchs are in the background.
I do appreciate they put like drawbacks into running the Primarchs now, where there is like, Angron has hubris, so he's just going to push way forward.
Yeah, I get that. Like
you can't address anything behind you.
Like first, I guess what I'm getting at is like by fixing certain things in first edition, they've fixed one thing, but they kind of messed up like that vibe. I don't know. Like I just feel like the Primarchs were like these god engines in first edition, and in the second edition they're good and they can mess up a whole damn army, but they're also very fallible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in any game you have to give people the ability to counter or get rid of a strong unit, right? You can't have it like first edition where Primarchs were like running around just like curb stomping units that, armies that could not, face them in close combat. You had to do something that made it feel a little bit more fair.
Well, I'm like, I get that. I guess I get, at the end of the day, it's like...
Match play rules.
Match play. At the end of the day, I feel like balancing it in one regard takes away a little bit of something. But you know what? That's why the books are still around. If you really want to go play first edition, you can go find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in that regard, I get that. How about Amon? You got a bad note? Something they did wrong to your heresy?
There's 3 things I think that I'm not really feeling. First is I'm happy that PDF units exist, but there is some like real big gaps in the legions that should have official models. Raven Guard, for example, need the deliverers. In my opinion, you're going to be a close range melee army. You need guys who don't get doubled out by like dreadnoughts in melee. And Raven Guard, the only option they have is this PDF unit you have to convert out of the plastic cataphracti. Maybe you can get the Justarin kit for some of the bits they have. But, like, why don't they have cool upgrades to, like, turn the cataphracti to deliverers? Why do I have to, like, kit bash or even go to somewhere like 3D printers to get bits when I could have an official model? I mean, you know, we talk about Ultramarines are the poster boys of Warhammer, but almost all of their units that are key to the Legion are not produced. Fulmintar's Terminators,
right?
You're kit bashing that out of parts. Loki-Tara Storm Squad, kit bashing that squad out of parts. Aenid Thiel, who's one of the characters that has the most books for the Legion, not only doesn't have a model, to my knowledge, doesn't have rules. So, you know, obviously that's the thing they're going to expand on, but it's one of those things where I feel like the stuff that is in print and the stuff that is out of print highlights some really big gaps that I think also makes building certain armies harder. Like, building good Imperial Fists, all the stuff is produced. Like,
absolutely.
Like, you're going to get your Huskarls, you're going to get your Sigismund, you're going to get your Templars, you're going to get your Phalanx Warders. Like, it's all there.
Definitely the more popular legions, the more, you know, lore-heavy legions have, I think, more going for them. But, you know, I definitely think armies that aren't as talked about need some support to drive people to them, to support it. Mechanica.
The sort of the second thing I was let down by was the lack of army-wide rules in Liber Mechanicum and Liber Imperium.
Okay.
So Rite of Wars are a Space Marine thing. I get it, but like in Mechanicum, it's like your tech priest determines your army,
right? But
that's kind of it. I can't like what is the difference between the Ryza or the Mars armies? Right?
I mean, I know that those books are indexes, but I really would have liked to have seen some new entries that you could at least kit bash, or a PDF of like Calvor Hall, or some of the big tech priests like Lady Zeph of like Magna City,
and even into the loyalists and traitors levers. There's key weapons that are in data slates that don't exist yet.
True.
Because they haven't built them in plastic yet, and you know that's what they're going to do.
Or they haven't even built them in resin.
Well,
right.
Well, Spartans. Okay, so this is like a key
I have a whole troop of Meridian Blades here.
Sure enough. Yeah, those are some sweet Grey Knight swords, buds. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Hey, I got my one like blade champion.
Sure, yeah. I like the two katanas. Makes them look like gold-plated ninjas.
Yeah. That's exactly what they are.
They're gold-plated ninjas.
And a forged season brass.
So one of my not negatives, but like a critique that I think is kind of lame is that, like we were talking about it earlier, where the old black books, there's models that were in those black books that are now in the PDF. They're never going to make the model. They're in clear intention. It's your job to kit bash it. But then they have stuff that's listed in the book that you really want. Like, very specifically for me, the Laser Destroyer Sponson. Like, there's the entry staring you in the face. You've got the whole plastic sprue that's got either the quad laser cannon on it or the regular Gravis las cannon.
Sure.
But where's this Laser Destroyer I can put on the Sponson?
You paint that one yellow, and that's your
exactly.
Destroyer.
Is the big? Know. Well, like it would just be cool if they lifted the veil just a little bit. Like, yeah, guys, exactly the reason we made these interchangeable Sponsons is because we're about to put out a $45 Sponson upgrade kit. Like,
I mean, just the 2-year turnaround for most models of GW at this point. Like,
if anybody wanted to pay attention to it, for example, the Book 9, the last Forge World book 9 Crusade, was released in 2019, and late in 2019 at that, like September or November. Okay. If anybody looks at the AOD sprues, they're all dated Games Workshop 2021, and they were magically released in 22. So between 19, 20, and 21, GW already knew what they were going to do, and COVID just gummed up the gears. So now it's like, are we getting this kind of torrential pour out because they've been cooking it for so long and COVID kept them from putting it out?
I mean, I'm not going to speculate on like whatever GW's thinking.
Fair enough.
But I will say, it is nice that they have the community site now, and that they do kind of like give us a 2-month sneak preview in some cases of what's coming, and I think that's more than we should actually expect from them.
Yeah,
and then of course we have places like Bowls that release, and talk about things ahead of time as they're given.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Check out my articles all about the top 10 wish list of plastic units.
Go to Bowls and pay good money for the insider scoop.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of the support's been great, but I do wish we'd seen some more of some more resin units, some more of
I think and then maybe that's what I'm just trying to get at, is that we're seeing a very clear in practice they're showing us their roadmap. Mm-hmm. Okay, every time they show you a resin unit, it's a character, it's Legion specific, unless it's an assassin, and then it's just a badass, and we're glad they made it.
Yay!
Right, but like when you get into
real quick, shout out to the guy who painted up the Adamas assassin as Storm Shadow. I saw that floating around.
Oh yeah, that's Reddit. Killer. He's going around.
Chris Long, he's here in town.
Nice.
Did he really? Nice.
Yeah. Excellent job, Chris. Good stuff. Continue.
No. Yeah. So it's just it's very clear that they're putting out Legion specific specialty units, one-off things, upgrade kits, and they've pretty much said that's what's going to continue in resin. Now, it was interesting. I was floating around the 30K Reddit page today and noticed somebody was like, hey, how come Typhons went missing? And immediately somebody chimed in, yeah, it's going to be in plastic. They're putting everything in plastic that isn't Legion specific. And some guy immediately commented back, like, only this subreddit is saying that. No one else has said that. Well, they're walking the walk, man. Put 2 and 2 together.
Sure. I mean, that happens every time they do anything at GW when they're going to revise a model or they're releasing something new. It tends to get pulled off the website for reboxing or whatever it is. It's kind of one of the telltale signs.
Mm-hmm. Right. Tip. Exactly. But there are people stomping around going, they won't tell us. And it's like, no, they're telling us with their actions, my man.
Well, unintentionally, I think.
Well, there are new people who don't know.
Sure.
That's what's going on. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but yeah, the last thing I've been kind of disappointed about with sort of Heresy so far is, I feel like there's a lot of support for the game at the 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 point level, but we got the Zone Mortalis rules in White Dwarf, and those have not been great. Okay. They're definitely incomplete compared to the way it was written in first edition.
Right.
And it was also given away for free in first edition, which is a big deal for me. And
I think in this day and age, an article in White Dwarf is about as close to free as anybody can.
I mean, they've done the exemplary battle stuff on the Warhammer community site that has missions and units for free as well. But low point Heresy, the 1,000, 1,500 point, bring your guys, bring the half the AOD box that you've managed to put together,
something for the casual player.
I wouldn't even say the casual player. Just low point Warhammer is a fun, fast game, and
there's no Horusy kill team.
There's not a good version of that right now. I'm sure we're going to get a Zone Mortalis Black Book, and there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff, and there's going to be cool missions, and it will do the thing. But definitely, I do want something more there. Not kill team necessarily. I don't think kill team is a great structure for Heresy.
I just meant squad combat.
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily the way the kill team's structured. Yeah, but you know what was really fun back in the day? Did you ever? This was a guy at a local LGS did back in 3rd edition, and it was a hoot. We called it 40 Munda, where we basically just you take a squad of X points, 5-man squad, 40K squad, or whatever points it equals out to. You want to take 300 points, 400 points, whatever. Everybody agrees on a point, right? Mm-hmm. And your match played, but then you play it single man skirmish. Necromunda, you just had
that was a Shadow War Armageddon.
Yeah, exactly. We just did it as a pickup game back in the day. There definitely needs to be more of that. If there was a White Dwarf article that was like that, 5-man squad, I think it would encourage more of that type of low point play.
Yeah,
but I also too, it's counterintuitive to Heresy. The freaking $300 starter box comes with a 350 point tank, and let's face it, most legions need 3 or 4 of them.
No, yeah, and I think we're doing very well at sort of the bigger points, but one of the most fun things to do in Heresy First Edition was Zone Mortalis, and that was 1,000 points and super intense, and
and then and they didn't
and Custodes crushed everybody.
Well,
I mean they did that in the regular game too, but
yeah, Custodes just walked up to the Marines and went in half.
They still
in half.
It's great.
Yeah,
try it.
No, I've seen the results. Anyway,
I'll fight him again.
Yeah,
You go like mine.
Oh no, I'll fight him. Yeah,
I definitely know you will.
Of course I will. You know how much I enjoy losing. I'm the guy in the group that keeps it all together because I take the loss for the team. Job squad, right here.
There we go. Dan's the punching bag.
Dan the job squad.
So yeah, I think that's kind of my downsides, but overall, it's been an incredible year for us.
I know, right? We're hunting for downsides, and we could just pour on and on and on about the upsides.
All the good stuff. So I think we're going to wrap it here. We're going to come back next week with a reflection and, I guess, resolutions for 2023.
What we're doing in 2023 and our most wished models for the next year.
Most wished things.
Our most wished things.
Subscribe. Tell us if you got a good idea for the name for the show, because I don't know.
More comments, more names.
Because right now it's Thick Hammer.
Thick Hammer. Thick Body Hammer?
It's not Thick Hammer.
It's not Thick Hammer. The Bull's Basement and Heresy Hour.
The Bull's Basement Heresy
Hour.
We're
still tossing around names.
Yeah. But anyway,
from the Bull's Basement.
Yeah, from the Bull's Basement. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you next time.
Keep rolling those dice.